because sticking with immigration, Home Secretary Suella Braverman has threatened crooked lawyers who help migrants game the system with life imprisonment. In the announcement, Braverman warned those found to be advising people on how to remain in the country by fraudulent means could be prosecuted for assisting unlawful immigration to the UK, which carries a maximum life sentence in jail. The Home Office has also announced a new task force which has been working covertly for months, dedicated to rooting out and prosecuting barristers who deceive the courts. But critics, of course, say the government's flimsy immigration policies are vulnerable to abuse.
There will always be lawyers that game the system. It's appalling, it's wrong, and any lawyer who is worth their salt should recognise that these people, the lawyers that are basically creating these false asylum claims, are bringing the profession into disrepute. But the government shouldn't be allowed to get out of blame for this, because plan after plan seems to be vulnerable to these kind of legal interventions, and that needs to stop.
5 lawyers were convicted last year of assisting unlawful immigration, but what remains to be seen is what impact, if any, the new crackdown will have on the tens of thousands of people entering the UK illegally each year. And again, you know, as he said there, Luke, the guest, it is too easy, basically, to say to the Home Office that if they say, why can't you be sent home? And you go, well, because I'm gay. And they go, oh, right, OK, fine, you can stay. It's that simple, you know, or, you know, I was tortured and that's why I had to leave, or, you know, I'm suffering from depression and here's my, you know, prescription for antidepressants. You know, clearly the system is very easy to shall we say, hoodwink. And these lawyers, we know from just what the Daily Mail did a couple of weeks ago, are offering methods and stories and narratives for these people should they wish to say the right thing. And it's clearly just a complete and utter piece of cake to get past the Home Office, and that's the problem.
Well, they can't
make it more difficult.
Yeah, I interviewed a guy who called in. He did this for years. He said it was absolutely impossible. If somebody says that I come from a regime, if they say I'm gay or I'm a Christian in a Muslim country, just those 2 factors alone are completely impossible to disprove.
Right.
You have nothing but their word for it. They're also massively understaffed, so they can't bring in a psychologist or behaviour expert to try and analyse it. So, generally speaking, those people will be waved through on that basis. I don't blame the individual. If I was wanted to...
but you have to blame...
I'd lived in Iran or something.
But you do have to blame the supposedly legal organisations who are running what is supposed to be an ethical law.
Who are doing this.
For convincing them that's what they should do, because I think it's wrong. It's totally wrong.
Do you think, though, that this focus, though, on these lawyers, rightly so, by the way, i.e. to root them out, but this focus politically to give it such high profile is, again, a distraction tactic away from the fact that they are...
No, I don't think, because I think because you said yourself, part of the problem here are the people who are sort of ganging up against the government, sometimes without really giving it any thought. They're just kind of going, all refugees are great, all refugees must be welcome. You have no way of rooting anybody out who might not be, you know, worth coming here, who might be a criminal, who might have a criminal record.
But they're not going after that.
They are, but the point is that these lawyers are clearly acting against the interests of the British public. And it's all very well saying that, you know, it's a distraction. It's not. It's a major part of the problem.
I don't think it's a major part of the problem, because when we look at the numbers of lawyers who have been convicted, 7 last year, 5 the year before, I agree with you, James. I think it is a distraction tactic, because we're sort of making out as if all immigration lawyers are doing this.
I'm not saying that.
No.
There is a suggestion from the government
but
that this is a big problem.
The way that the focus is on this story specifically is that all immigration lawyers are doing this, all immigration lawyers are bad, and that's not what it is at all. And I agree with you, James. I think that instead of actually focusing on the reasons why people, first of all, can go to these lengths and do go to these lengths in the first place, is because of the broken system. At the very bottom line of this is the fact that the system is broken, that people can play it and game it in the first place.
But that's why they're coming here. And the point about all of this, as I've said, is the only way to stop them coming here is to make it much more difficult for them to settle in this country.
That's my point. That's my point.
No, whatever the reasons are, in order to stop that from happening, you have to stop the people who are helping them.
Yes, but you have to go back to the root cause, and the root cause is that there's a real problem with the legislation that we have, which is weak. It is poor in terms of how it's there, which is why so many lawyers are feeding off it. And then, of course, you have the rogue lawyers, which is a completely separate issue. And I think that's being used as a distraction tactic away from the fact that we have a weak system that's dealing with a whole raft of problems which have been created by poor legislation.
And what about the fact that there are lots of people who genuinely need to seek asylum. We need to look at those issues as well as, why do people feel that they have to escape different countries, different regimes, and be somewhere else? That has to be an issue as well. I'm not saying
are you really
that's
convince
something
people,
that we
though?
have to
Are you really
address, but we have to acknowledge that.
But are you really going to convince? I had Tom Hunt MP on today, and he said the problem with a lot of these people is that they say, why is it only young men? And Kerfa Calais said this. It's all young men because they're the ones who are most likely to be persecuted. Really? Well, they're leaving the women and the kids behind. I'm not buying it.